Hi, boys and girls. I have another book to read to you today, and this one is called Caps for Sale. So let's see what's on the cover right here. This is called the cover of the book. So let's see what is on this picture. Here are this guy's caps. Caps are like hats. And look, he's up in a tree. Let's read the story and learn about why this man is in a tree. Once there was a peddler who sold caps, but he was not like an ordinary peddler carrying his wares on his back. He carried them on top of his head. So that's a new word. A peddler, that's somebody that sells something. So this guy's a peddler because he sells caps, but he wears them around on his head. First, he had on his own checked cap. There's his checked cap. Then a bunch of gray caps, then a bunch of brown caps, then a bunch of blue caps, and then on the very top, a bunch of red caps. He walked up and down the streets holding himself very straight as to not upset his caps. As he went along, he called, "Caps! Caps for sale! 50 cents a cap!" One morning, he couldn't sell any caps. He walked up the street and he walked down the street, calling, "Caps! Caps for sale! 50 cents a cap!" But nobody wanted any caps that morning. Nobody even wanted a red cap. He began to feel very hungry, but he had no money for lunch. "I think I'll go on a walk in the country," said he, and he walked out of town, slowly, slowly, as not to upset his caps. See, they're still all stacked on his head. He walked for a long time until he came to a great big tree. That's a nice place for a rest, he thought, and he sat down very slowly under the tree and leaned back little by little against the tree trunk as not to disturb the caps on his head. He wanted to be sure the caps didn't fall off. Then he put up his hand to feel if they were straight. First he checked his own cap, then the gray caps, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, and then the red caps on the very top. They were all there, so he went to sleep. He slept for a very long time. When he woke up, he was refreshed and rested. But before standing up, he felt with his hand to make sure his caps were in the right place. All he felt was his own checked cap. Where do you think all of his caps went? Let's see where they went. He looked to the right of him, no caps. He looked to the left of him, no caps. He looked in back of him, no caps. He looked behind a tree, no caps. Then he looked up into the tree, and what do you think he saw? On every branch sat a monkey. On every monkey was a gray or a brown or a blue or a red cap. They took his caps right off his head. The peddler looked at the monkeys. The monkeys looked at the peddler. He didn't know what to do. Finally, he spoke to them. "You monkeys, you," he said, shaking a finger at them. "You give me back my caps." But the monkeys only shook their fingers back at him and said, "Tss, tss, tss." This made the peddler angry, so he shook both hands at them and said, "You monkeys, you, give me back my caps." But the monkeys only shook their hands back at him and said, "Tss, tss, tss." Now he felt quite angry. He stamped his foot and he said, "You monkeys, you, give me back my caps." But the monkeys only stamped their feet back at him and said, "Tss, tss, tss. By this time, the peddler was really very, very angry. He stamped both of his feet and shouted, "You monkeys, you must give me back my caps." But the monkeys only stamped both their feet back at him and said, "Tss, tss, tss." At last, he became so angry that he pulled off his own cap. He threw it on the ground and began to walk away. But then each monkey pulled off his cap. And all the gray caps, and all the brown caps, and all the blue caps, and all the red caps came flying down out of the tree. So the peddler picked up his caps and put them back on his head, first his own checked cap, then the gray caps, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, and then the red caps on the very top. And slowly, slowly, he walked back to town calling, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." The end. So that man was trying to sell his caps, and those monkeys took it off his head. Look at them peeking out behind the tree. You see the monkeys? They were stealing his caps. And then the monkeys were playing a game of copycat. So when he would shake his finger, they would shake their finger. So when he threw his cap off his head, the monkeys threw their caps. And that's how he got all of his caps back, because the monkeys were playing copycat. I think that was a good story. I think it was silly that those monkeys stole the caps right off that guy's head. I don't think that was very nice of the monkeys, do you? I don't think that was a very kind choice. All right. Well, thanks for listening to my story. I'll see you soon. Bye.